So
Oh,
you're
hi.
heading up to Kelowna now.
I am.
Yeah.
On my way soon.
It's like almost like cars passing each other, right?
Yeah.
I get back and
Ships
you
in
leave.
the night.
Yeah. They've got another guy going up there right now too.
Really?
Yeah, Lee's got a buddy, also Irish, also Lee.
Oh, Lee Metcalf? Seriously?
Yeah, he's going up.
That's dope.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but yeah, he's gonna be there for 5 days.
When?
When I was leaving, it was like 2 weeks from then, so you might end up like
Overlapping.
there might be some overlap there.
Yeah, whatever. He's dope. He's on his way to tattooing. Currently. Yeah, he's hopefully going to be out of whatever we do in Ireland.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's dope, man.
Shop all over the world kind of thing.
He has good attention to detail. I like his drawings a lot.
So when I was talking to him, well, in the early morning, we were talking to him quite a bit. We'd be doing the workout thing, and Lee would have him on face cam, which was a little strange to me because I've never done anything like that. It's like you're working out while you're having a conversation with someone, and they're kind of watching you. Like it was completely normal for those guys.
I guess that's efficient.
Well, it was like it's this like bro culture type thing, I think, where it's like this is what we do, but I don't really do that. So I was just kind of like, well, this is my first time working out with anyone, let alone.
Oh yeah, you don't do that.
No.
Oh, dude, Gym Bros is a thing.
The whole thing was very odd to me.
Oh no, I mean I far prefer to work out with someone.
Not odd in a bad way. Just like, I've never done this. But it was informative because like I was doing one workout the wrong way.
What was the wrong way?
We were doing deadlifts. Apparently I was doing a Romanian deadlift.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't even know what that meant. But they straightened me out.
There's like 3 or 4 different types of deadlifts.
But like when you only do it on your own, it's hard to even tell what the hell you're doing.
Oh yeah. Man, I finally corrected my posture on deadlifting this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse finally corrected it for me. I was just like, oh, I've been doing that wrong literally my whole life.
Well, it was one of those things where they would have it straightened out, then I would go back and I would do it again, and you default to what's comfortable.
Oh yeah. Otherwise it feels awkward.
They're like, you're gonna hurt yourself doing it that way. There's a purpose for that, but it's not for beginners or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I got a lot of tips and tricks and things like that. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is an argument for the gym.
Yes.
Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Man, like the gym is the best. It's like, I think we all need it personally. But like, I don't know. You just can't get the same working out at home. It's really tough.
Well, it's hard to have the right stuff to do it too.
Yeah, it's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Like Lee's got a pretty cool setup, but even he's like, I could use a few more things in here.
He could use just some more weights in general, like just more weight. Because like you get to a place where like deadlifting, you can pick up a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And you need all that. And then all of a sudden you're transferring it between everything. It's pretty frustrating. But
especially if you get to a point where it gets too easy and then you're like, well, what's the point at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you can't keep stressing yourself with the same weight.
No, you don't grow.
So
question.
Yeah.
Day 1, Kelowna. So you flew.
Yeah.
You never really travel by yourself.
Well, I went out on foot a little bit, but that was it.
No, I mean like just in life in general. I feel like this was a new outing for you.
I've done that a couple other times. I went to Ontario, and obviously I've been to Calgary.
Yeah.
But like it's been a long time. I went to Ontario and at the end of 2012 and 2013 and then again in 2014. But that was really the extent of where I've been.
Yeah.
So travel for me, like this was a lot of firsts for me. Like this whole last few weeks I've been completely out of my comfort zone and I'm not going back to it. Right? It's been really terrifying and every day feels like, even like today, it's all just every day is new.
Yeah.
Right? Like normally when you go away, you go back to your comfort when you're done, right?
Oh, yeah.
So for me, it was like when I went out there, I think I was less scared of coming back or less scared of that than I was coming back because it's like, oh, it's not going back to normal.
No, you got to do the thing.
So you go up there and you're like, it's like this fancy dreamland or something, right? Nothing has much consequence to it. It's all just kind of like, I'm the guest here.
Yeah.
And then you come back and it's like, oh, this is my life now, right? I'm not the cook that I've been for the last nearly 20 years anymore.
Yeah.
And that stuff was super, super hard, but super, super easy because I was super used to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is probably a lot easier, but it feels a lot harder than it needs to right now.
Yeah, I get that.
Like everything feels like effort.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Learning anything. This is one of the reasons that I don't think people change is because like effort is exhausting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though you are an old man and you didn't want to come bowling last night, but like I think it's also because that these days are probably going to feel exhausting.
Yeah, I felt mentally tapped out last night and the night before.
Yep.
Like it was like pure exhaustion, and I did almost nothing physically.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's a weird thing.
No, it's not that weird.
Because you're critical of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not even so much worried about like other people being critical of me as it is so much like I don't like being shit.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I haven't been that dude in forever. I've been confident in myself, what I do forever. So to go from that to, oh, really, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's a tough one for me because I'm always training those people.
Yeah. You're the noob now?
Yeah. It's not a feeling I want to be in for a very long time.
You won't. You won't. Especially if you have some therapeutic aids that will help you feel a little bit more neurally placid. Yeah, that'll help you a lot.
I was telling Sarah about our conversation about it yesterday, and she was more apprehensive about that than what Lee and I have been talking about. Which
I get it.
Which is like, it seems weird to me, but only because we've had so many conversations about it, and I feel like I'm way more open to just things in general than her.
Yeah.
But like, you would think that she'd be more apprehensive of what Lee and I have been discussing. I don't want to bring up exactly what that is, than this, because this seems a little more, a little less potentially bad for me. Right?
It completely is. Except for, I would say, this, like, both things that we're talking about have a certain stigma, but one is on a faster track of reducing that stigma.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, I like knowing a bit more about Sarah and knowing a bit more of her, like, especially her parents, I can understand her apprehension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they have an intensity around certain things like that would be the way I would describe it. And it takes a long time for those. Like, my parents are the same way. And they're now warming up to all of that. They send me articles on this stuff now.
I don't see her parents going that way.
No, probably
not. But, I mean, they're in their early 60s, and I think they're probably just going to ride out the belief structure they've got.
Yeah, probably. But, I mean, like, my dad's 70.
That being said, I mean, that's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. That
I
being
want to get
said,
my dad on like, he's 70, and I want to get him on TRT, personally. Because I think, like, he's already in the best shape he's ever been in his life at 70. He eats phenomenally. He works out. He can do 100 push-ups like that. He's way stronger than I am.
I can't do 100 push-ups.
I can't either.
I'm doing them easier and easier, but I'm doing them like every second day right now, kind of thing. I'm just working them in, and they do get easier, but they're still like push-ups are exhausting for me still.
Yeah,
like
it works a lot of you, right?
Yeah, I remember thinking like, what's a push-up, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
And then you're like, oh fuck, I can barely do 10 of these.
That's another thing. I was doing push-ups wrong forever. I finally am doing push-ups right.
I've been doing them right. I was thinking I was doing them wrong.
Yeah.
And thankfully I was cleared on that one.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I was cleared on that one by Dave, but then whenever you start doing something around someone else, you're always like, fuck.
Yeah, I know. Do I really know this or not?
Do I know what I'm doing here?
Dude, that's everything. It sucks.
That's a lot of me right now is, fuck.
It's that imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah.
Which, like, we shouldn't have. We should understand where we are, but it's like, I like, even one of the things that I'm struggling with, like, I had it yesterday with that beer tattoo. It's like, I'm really trying to, like, ask myself, like, am I lying to myself, or does this look like the thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, am I seeing this
You're probably
right?
scrutinizing everything you're doing,
well,
right?
because I kind of keep waiting for somebody to tell me that I'm not seeing something, that I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of waiting for that.
Would you submit it to someone and hope for criticism?
Always. That's
Like
everything that I do.
So like
Always. Just it's hard to get it.
would it crush you if they were like, "This is terrible"?
No.
The fuck are you doing?
No, as long as they could point me into the direction of better, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that's the problem with criticism. Is it's like criticism is many things. It can either be constructive or just outright heartless.
Yeah.
It's like when I was very young, I was cooking on my own. I was like 14, and the guy who was supposed to be training me came up onto the line, threw everything I was doing in the trash, and told me to get the fuck off the line.
Nice.
Go do dishes. He did not tell me what I did wrong. He didn't even approach the subject. It was just obvious. Something was wrong. I never, to this day, I still don't understand what happened.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll never figure that out. Because even when I kind of earned that guy's respect a little bit, it just wasn't on the table to discuss. Like I can't figure out that one saved my life. And I would often reference that incident to people, and the way that like we train there now is so much better than that.
Yeah.
But like it still seems like it's harsh to new people. Like people think that
It's just a type of language that most places don't even allow anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Like
It's barbaric.
even just being honest about performance in that respect, it's like most workplaces you have to do it in a way that like is so careful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whereas it's very not careful within a kitchen. It's not careful here. It's very like straight to the point because it's about efficiency at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those things where like I remember I had a kid I was training like 3 or 4 years ago, and he would like put bread in the toaster and he would watch it go through the toaster. And I remember I told him as kind as I could over and over again to try and multitask, like encourage, go put some stuff down, you can do other things. And finally I was like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can breathe and put toast in at the same time. You know that, right? Like you're glued to this toaster. Like, and he was so hurt by that line. He left that day.
Really?
Yeah. He told them like, oh, he bullied me. Like he said that. That's why he doesn't want to come back. I was so gentle with him, but like, there comes a point when it's like, dude,
you gotta figure it out.
He would put it in and watch it go. So my part of me wasn't unhappy that he was gone, but like just the fact that these days you can't be the way you could in the past, right? I wouldn't have been on the line for more than 5 minutes if I was doing that shit when I came in. Like it would have been, you're out of here, you're done, get the fuck out.
Well, this is the curiosity of like understanding the feeling of doing something well.
Yeah.
Because like if you really want to do something well, the pressure has to be considerable. Like if you really want to be a good surgeon, you got to be under heavy scrutiny. You got to have years of something, and then you're in high pressure situations that you need to be. It's just pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You're always perfect all the time. Otherwise, people die. Like, you want that in your surgeon, and it's a good thing to get to. You know what I mean? Like, highly skillful.
Yeah.
But it's wild that, like, it seems to be more and more the case that, like, that type of thought process of, like, highly skilled is not good, which I don't quite understand.
Yeah. Where I was at, where I left there, it was like we have 2 or 3 strong employees and they're carrying the load for everyone, right? Like you've got a team of pretty well useless individuals. You're not allowed to say anything about it, and you're not allowed to hold them accountable for anything. You just kind of accept that they're going to just kind of flop around like a fish out of water, and then they're going to leave. And there's a difference in what they're getting paid, but it's not as distinct as the performance.
Yeah.
Like top to bottom isn't what it used to be. I remember there was a time when we would bring guys in and they were making half of what I would be making, and now it's like $5 or $6 less kind of thing. And it's like I understand why that happened, but like the level of difference in performance is astounding. Mm-hmm. And if you were to flip the table and put this guy in the position of someone that was like running the place, the place would just cease to function.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do about that, because we're not building that strength anymore.
No.
Not in that arena. I've seen in other areas of life too, though, where it's like the will to work is dying.
Well, it's because the things that we use are better skilled, right?
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
the expectation on the person is less and less. The expectation on the things. So like, like, okay, well, we want better shoes, so we get better machines to make the shoes rather than like get better at making shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like this idea that like humans have limitation in many areas and therefore we need to focus on removing humans from it. But that takes that skill set away, which is really unfortunate in my opinion.
Yeah, and
like,
I think there's not much reason to like, for some jobs, there's not much reason to excel at them.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in getting good at something that doesn't pay that much to begin with?
Yeah.
Other than if you enjoy it.
Well, it's like your brother's bored at his job.
Yeah.
He's
I know. I went to visit him.
It's on autopilot.
And he's literally like passed out at the wheel. It looked like he's just fumbling on his phone. He barely even heard me come in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Jared, how's it going?
Yeah.
I'm not blaming him. It's just very obvious that he's bored as fuck. Even you said it the other day. I know Dave's at work, so he can't be busy.
Yeah. Legit. Like, there's nothing that like
You're trying to call him. I'm like, oh,
well,
he's
done a good job of making his environment efficient.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? His like he was explaining it to me. He's just like the machine that he's built runs really well, which means that he has to do very little.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been pointing to you in your space. Like as soon as you get your machine running really well, the amount of openness that you'll have in that.
Yeah.
Because that part of it will just be this thing. You know what I mean? And that's why like I think here, luckily, we will always push towards betterment of like something in addition to. You know what I mean? Like you have not just like, oh, emails, great, you get good at emails, then you're done.
Well, there's only so many a day, right?
But for us, it's like I'd rather you also pour into extra skill to benefit you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like that's been what's been encouraged to me as soon as I showed an interest. You know what I mean? Like Lee's amazing at that in terms of like if people show an interest and they have drive, he will
sometimes
push.
even if they haven't showed an interest yet.
Legit.
He'll see it in you. He'll be like, you need to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
that's what he told me.
yeah.
I would always ask questions and stuff like that while he was tattooing. And then one day he was just like, you could do this, right?
I think he tends to, and I told him this too, I think he tends to sort of live vicariously through other people pursuing things too, because he only has so many days to live himself. And for him, it's like, if I had more than one body,
imagine what I could do.
He's always got all these ideas. And so then I think they get off drafted onto other people sometimes where it's like, oh, well, you could do this thing. And then he's very encouraging in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
Even when we were starting the podcast, he was only super, super interested when we were starting it up.
Yeah.
Once we got it rolling, he kind of went off and he was probably doing that same thing for someone else and something else then, right?
Yeah.
He's big on starting people off in a direction.
Yeah.
And if he can get them there, then it's getting them started is generally the hardest part, I think.
Well, I mean, everybody has such limitations that they've put on themselves, myself included. It's just one of those, when you can help push people past their own limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And push into areas that they don't know. Because if you can teach them that that's a mindset and that's a state of being, rather than just because the world doesn't teach you that. School doesn't teach you that that you can constantly grow and evolve and change. And
it's fucking difficult though. It feels hard.
So anything is difficult the first day you do it.
I know.
Just is.
But conceptually, I can't believe that I've done this. To me, it's it's not because it's so amazing or oh, I feel so great here. It's not that thing. It's just the idea that I finally changed that part of my life is very hard to come to terms with.
Yeah, the first time I did that, I had the exact same thing. I went from the old shop, and I came on here. It was such a weird feeling. I was, even though I knew that I was coming into a kind of a safe, stable thing, which you're doing. It's okay, I'm moving from a stable income to a stable income. It's still everything about it is scary.
Yeah.
But now that you're doing this one, anything else you do in the future is going to be okay.
I've done this. I've done
this
transition
dance
before.
I know what this feels like.
Yeah, I didn't think like we would talk about this forever, and it was always just like, yeah, maybe we'll do that one day, right? And then it's like you get there, and it's like, oh shit, something's actually going to happen with this. Like every other part of my life, I've been free with changing. Like I've been with all kinds of women. I've changed the way I look with tattoos and piercings and all this stuff. I've had all kinds of animals, and my brother has lived with me and he's not, and like just all these different things. Like I've never been afraid of changing anything but my job.
Well, your
Because,
job
like,
has so much to do with your identity.
yeah, exactly. And it's also like all of these things that I'm able to do are facilitated by this income. And I think part of me bought into the maybe it's not so much of a myth, but maybe it is now, that when you're physically, super modified, lots of piercings or tattoos, you're lucky to have that job. And can you get another one?
Oh yeah.
And I never really bought it like on a surface level, but I think subconsciously,
Societally,
it was probably always kind of keeping me there too a little bit. Like, yeah, I don't love this all the time, but at least they let me look however I want to look, right? They've never said anything to me about the way I want to look. And where here, it's actually a bit of an asset, which is a strange thing to understand for me, because it's like it's always been to my detriment, theoretically. Even though it hasn't been, theoretically, it's to my detriment.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told my whole life. Well, you could do better if you didn't have... And now it's like, oh, you're in the tattoo shop and people want to talk to you about tattoos. And it's just weird. It's a really weird thing to have it all turned on its face or whatever.
Well, it's like your whole existence is now the other direction. Like even within your work environment, like we will encourage and be excited about stuff for you. And I don't, like you said the other day, which still shocks me, is like that doesn't happen at your workplace.
No, that's it's like the best you're going to get is neutral, right?
That's wild.
Like you're never going to get someone who's legitimately happy for you. And if you are, you should be looking at that and trying to find the hidden danger there, where it's
That's
like
wild,
this
man.
person is fucking with you. You know what I mean? Like, so like someone gives you a compliment and
scary.
it feels backhanded, even if there was no intention.
Man.
Like you're just on your guard because that's all it ever is. It's like I've said it a million times to young cooks I've been training, and they'll get a compliment on a meal or something, and I'm like, no, don't wear that. You stuff that down, son, because next thing you know, they're coming back to you and they're angry at you. You did the same job 2 times in a row. That customer's in a bad mood now. Now you've ruined his day. That's all that matters is someone's mood, right? If they're having a bad day, it doesn't matter what you give them. They're going to have a bad time. Like you're not going to... A burger is not going to put a smile on a miserable person's face.
Yeah.
It's not the way
I
it
know.
works.
I know. And unfortunately, it's like we live in a world where miserable is very common. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, it's like socially just like, yeah, you live, therefore you are miserable. This whole idea of life being hard. It's like, yeah, it is, except for difficulty doesn't necessarily equate to misery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like misery is a mindset out of a difficult situation. And you can be miserable in a good situation too. Like we have a really opulent land that we live in currently, and you can be miserable as fuck if you want.
Yep.
And that's where like we don't talk about how the fact that like how to deal with things and how to just view your own self in relation to the world around you and your experience.
Well, I'll tell you this much. In the last 2 weeks, because it's been about 2 weeks now since I've been doing this, hard to believe, between Kelowna now and being here, there hasn't been any like petty, like any of that negativity, any of that bitter. And there was one incident where someone had a complaint or something, and like everybody was against this person coming in and trying to attack the institution. Like it was like the family is defending itself.
Yeah.
I've been like living with it where anyone that comes in and makes any one little complaint, we're on that person's side.
No,
and
that's not the thing.
And the whole family is at fault now. You know what I mean?
The thing about this type of thing is like we have our thing and they're asking to come into it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an expectation on what it takes to remain into it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those like there's a decorum, because like you can handle situations with people that you care about in a way that gets everybody feeling good. And then there's the, I want this burger cooked more. Oh, you overcooked it.
Yeah.
Like that type of mentality isn't because you want to be accepted to within a group. You know what I mean? It's you want that group to accept you.
Yeah.
Whereas like that's not the case here. One of the first things that I experienced here was what I thought was a stressful situation because I was like really fresh out of the retail thing. And this lady wasn't happy that blah, 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 blah. We couldn't accommodate her getting an appointment, blah, 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 blah. And I was all stressed about it. And I went and talked with Lee about it. And I remember he said, well, did you tell her to fuck herself? And I was like, what?
The amount of times I would love to have been able to tell a customer that.
Yeah. But it was one of those like, it's like he made me realize through his hyperbolic statement that, just because I came from this world of like, I have to cower to everybody. It's like, this is all aesthetic choices. We don't have to do anything. That like, if you want something from us, we don't have to say yes. We don't have to make that thing happen. And I came from a world of I had to make everything happen for people. Like,
yeah.
Like I remember that I got a complaint once for not getting a product that doesn't exist.
Hey, I have that same thing. We would have people that would come in, still do, and they would order things that we've never had on the menu. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't have it, we have to figure it out somehow.
Yeah. Can I have the swordfish po' boy?
We had to cook an egg white boiled hard egg one time.
What?
Yeah, we had to suck out the yolk and boil the whites within the shell for this person. Now, there is a technique to do this, but we don't offer boiled eggs, and we certainly don't offer this. But like the server just rang it in, and now it's like, if the cooks complain about it, we're just being a bunch of assholes. Like, I used to say that if someone came in and ordered fresh baked cookies, we would have to make them. Even though they're not on our menu, like, we would have to find a way to make them, or else the kitchen's just being a bunch of assholes. What would so-and-so do? Because we have our big boss would always try to accommodate the customers when she used to be in the kitchen. No matter what they did, whatever they asked for, she would try her best to get it for them. So now that line will come out every now and then, like, what would so-and-so do if she was back there? And if you don't do it, you're being an asshole, right? Like,
and then you're just creating a culture of people that will take that.
Oh, man. We have the biggest menu I've ever seen, and then there's all these old items that we can't get rid of because someone might want them. And then we also have things that are just being made up.
That's how you get killed by food storage costs. Yeah. Like food ordering. Like if you have to order,
I know.
I wonder what that looks like. I just think back as you're describing all these things. I think of those like barroom rescue things.
We have it pretty well together. Like we do pretty good. But like, I don't know what it's gonna look like when I go in there Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it could be a nightmare in there. But like they've been this way for so long, and I would always say to my buddy Vince, that I bring up quite often, it's like they've had it too good for too long out there. Like they're so spoiled rotten with choice that they really do. They think we're cooking with not spatulas but magic wands. Yeah. Right? Like we're just conjuring up food for them like fucking Merlin or something. Like like whatever you want, sure. Come on down to the Wizard Pub. Like it's it really feels like that where it's like
you kind of are.
There's no no. So the idea of being able to say no to something is quite liberating.
Yeah, oh yeah, as it should be. And again, it's one of those like when you're creating a business, you need to create kind of the boundaries of what you would accept within that business.
Yeah.
And I think too many people are afraid to put up boundaries for fear of losing.
Yeah. Oh, they'll go somewhere else and they'll get it.
But the thing is like a business that has established boundaries is something that people who enjoy boundaries and appreciate them engage with, right? So it's like you're getting people that are not the type of people that will push boundary because they accept the things that are put in.
Go on.
It's just one of those things that it's like if you build it into the business, that's the clientele that you're going to get.
Well, it can be done with food because I went to Show one time, quite a long time ago. It's only relevant because I love their potatoes.
Oh, their potatoes are amazing.
I asked for extra potatoes, and at that time, they wouldn't do it for you. It was like no, you can't get extra potatoes. You have to order a whole other plate.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very forceful the way they told me. And I was like, okay, make it 2 katsus then.
Yeah, I guess,
right?
right?
Like, I'm playing by the rules.
Yeah,
I want
bring it
the
on.
potato. I have to get 2 then.
Yeah, I guess I'm eating more chicken too.
So now they have sides of potato, but it's an insane price point. So they're
Good.
still winning. If you want that potato, you're paying like $12 for a side of it.
And the funny thing is the potato is so cheap,
I know.
but like they're just winning hand over fist
Yeah.
because it's so good.
But like if you want it, you're paying a premium on that
Yeah,
potato.
and they know what they got. But that's what I'm meaning. Like they understand what they got, and they're like, well, this is the limitation for you to get that.
Yeah, all kinds of people will go there not even intending to have Japanese food. They just want
Those
Potatoes,
potatoes, yeah.
yeah.
They eat like teriyaki beef, and because they're like, oh, whatever,
Yeah.
it's beef.
whatever the hell else is on there.
Yeah, it's
Just give me
fine.
the potatoes.
I'll just mix it in with those potatoes, I guess.
Yeah, so we have no where I'm coming from. So the idea of turning things down or like finding creative ways to tell people they're wrong
Yeah.
like that, it's oddly
Mind-blowing.
therapeutic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like, I mean, that's a lot of the. It's a lot of the job, but it's not that we want to say no. It's just that we want to steer them in the right direction.
Yep.
Because if somebody's coming in here and they don't know anything about tattooing and they're like, I want this, they don't understand any of the reasons why that might not be a good idea. So
Yeah.
for me, it's less of like a no. It's more of like a, I'm going to inform you why no.
So that'd be me as the cook being like, yes, I know we have Asian salmon on the menu for some reason, but you'd be much happier with the meat lover's pan scramble, right?
Yeah, you would.
It's,
Everybody would be way happier.
yeah,
with the meat
I
lover's
know
pan
you
scrambler.
think that you want this, but it's really not good. We shouldn't be doing this for you.
I'm going to be honest with you. You don't want this.
Yeah, no, there's a
You're
lot of
gonna be
items
mad about it.
we really shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Here's this frozen thing that barely sells. Now I'm digging it out of a freezer burnt.
Shipping it out of there.
Yeah, freezer burnt container
Ew.
and into the microwave for 3.5 minutes. Right, like,
God.
but they should know that coming in. If you're going to a breakfast place, don't order the Asian salmon. Like,
Don't
it's-
even have an Asian salmon on
We
it. It's a
shouldn't.
breakfast place.
We shouldn't.
That's
right.
wild.
These are the things that have bothered me. I love the work of cooking, but
Yeah.
I have deep concerns with what we have on our menu there, and it's always been a means to an end for me. And I've never been passionate about the career of it.
Yeah.
So people will be like, "Remy, you're a cook. Why don't you show off some of what you cook?" And all. I'm like, I'm not getting into any of that because it's just for me. It's just money. Right. I'm good at doing the job, but it's always just money.
Yeah, that's
so I've
fair.
never even thought about what you do for a living being something that you really enjoy in
passionate
any
about?
way. Like being a part of a field you actually have some respect for.
Wow. That's
It's-
wild though. Like, I mean, I know it makes sense because I think a lot of people do that. They have a lot of things where it's just like you have a job because the world says you have a job, and it's normal to hate your job, and then you just are stoked when you're not there.
So I won't go that far because I had some friendships in there and I had a lot of good memories and I enjoyed the physical act of being busy and cooking, but like the institution around it, I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy like the restaurant, the food that we were doing there a lot of the time, like the clientele that we're working with and some of the people that I worked with. There were things about it that I liked and things about I didn't like, but
That's
for
with
me,
everything.
it was like you need to have a job. And again, the physical limiter of all the piercings and the tattoos was always somewhere in the back of my mind of you're going to be in the back for your whole life, right? And so the idea of being in the front of something is very, very strange. Like it's a bit of a culture shock for me. Like
Yep.
not only am I in the front, I am kind of the face of it here. Like it's a weird feeling. Hard to get comfortable with when you've been fed. You're never going to be out front your whole life.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, the whole thing is new, right? Which is the brilliant part of it, is you get to make this change, and there's so many new things to adjust to. But I mean, all that I can say is you'll go from kind of scared, and then when you settle into it, you're going to look back and go like, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah, how could I ever go back to that?
Yeah, because it's going to seem like crazy, laborious, like just awful. And I don't know. I get kind of heartbroken that most people won't ever get to that, you know?
It's one of the things my boss said to me when I was talking to her I made sure to have one of those heartfelt conversations with my boss before I left because in a lot of ways she was like almost like a second mother to me because I'd been there so long.
Yeah.
And she said she was happy that that place would never be something I regret one day. Like, because she's got a few people who've been there longer than me, and she feels bad for them. Like, they never tried to do anything else, and it's too late for them now as far as they're concerned, right? And they'll probably never look outside that, and they wear it like armor. Like, it's the world's fault that they're stuck there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where it's like they could have done something at some point, and they just chose not to, and now this is
their
it.
fate.
Right? And she said she was proud of me for not letting that be me.
That's great.
10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people, like, so here's the weird thing. Her as a boss, she's never going to tell you that until you've made the jump.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like, okay, so there's a few things that are wild in that. One, owning a business that creates job roles that are that, right? Like, that's a wild thing where it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to have this kind of like anchor position that is going to hold this person in place and never let them progress.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just going to be this kind of like golden handcuff. This is, you're stuck here because you have a mortgage and you're going to resent this place, really. You know what I mean? And even though it's not like negative, it's not necessarily that you would have, oh, okay, I hate this place, but resentment is different than hate. You know what I mean? Resentment is like an undertone. And, you know, I don't know about the idea of creating a business where you would have employees that aren't stoked to be there.
I just think like those jobs are only supposed to last so long, but a lot of the problem is being that anchor position takes years to get to.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like what's the word I want to use for this? Like a logical fallacy, or like it's just like a bit of a strange conundrum of we need people to stay around for years to be able to run this place, but at the same time doing that to them is almost not the right thing to, like, it's, you don't want them to get stuck there, but you're almost encouraging that too.
So here's a question for you, because I think these types of businesses might be more, so say, I know it's not your passion, so you would never want to do this, but put yourself in the shoes of if you were the head cook but you own the place. So that means that everything getting through there is yours, technically. So then you're in that anchored position.
Even then, there's not enough freedom because it's a chain, right?
Oh, yeah,
like you can't make the choices that you would make if you were in your own one-off restaurant.
Right.
Right. Like you go to like a little spot, like that barbecue place I found in Kelowna, and they're not accountable to a big chain.
No.
They bring in a product because they like it and they're a fan of it. We got products in there that my boss herself isn't a fan of. She's like, why do we have to have this? But that's part of being a chain, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. You could, like, we're not a one-off. So you know, you're getting in what your chain gets in. So if I was to be that head cook guy you were just describing, I would be happier in a one-off or making my own place than I would be running someone else's business, like as part of a chain, because you don't have that freedom.
Yeah, you can't make changes. You can't.
You have to sell that salmon.
Freedom. Yeah,
you have to sell the fucking salmon.
Got that Asian salmon there, man.
Whether it's good or whether anyone likes it or whatever. If there's one pinhead out there that wants to eat that thing, it's got to be there.
When was the last time you made an Asian salmon?
Not long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sad. We
have them in the freezer. They've been off the menu for years, and we can't get rid of them because somebody out there might want them. And if that guy comes in and we go, oh, we don't have the Asian salmon, there's this dread of, oh, well, he's going to go somewhere else and find one now. It's like, yeah, good.
Yeah, hopefully one that's fresher.
Hopefully it's better than ours.
Yeah, legit.
The one that we just dug out of the freezer and chipped off 6 months of frost burn. Yeah.
That's
he
insane.
Probably doesn't want to eat that one anyway.
Oh, man. Like, that's like, you can't describe a worse meal to me. Like, honestly, just like that frozen
There are things
fish.
you can get there that are good, and there's the other stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we should only be doing some of the dinner stuff, like burgers maybe, and then breakfast. That's it.
It should be a diner.
Yeah.
Like a classic diner vibe, where you do your breakfasts and all that stuff, and then you got your late nights.
Yeah.
Your burgers and stuff. Like, those are, I don't know, I think that's always successful, personally.
Yeah, the amount of shit you needed to know to work there is astronomical. And I've always said, if I was doing this job now, if I walked into that now, I wouldn't take the minimum wage pay that you get when you start a job like that. The only reason why it was okay for me was because I was making so much more than that. But like as a new person coming in, I'd look at it all and go, this is insane. No thanks. I'm going to go do anything else, and it'll be much easier than this.
It does seem like a lot, having a menu that wide.
And then
so,
the,
like,
the
how much
prep
of it
to
is,
keep up with it is
that
insane.
was my question. How much prep is needed?
Oh, it's never ending. And if you get stuck on a busy day, everything's gone within a day generally, because you don't want to be prepped up, especially now with how we had the lockdowns.
Yeah.
We were keeping our prep pretty low, right? So you go through like a day's supply of prep and a few days supply of prep for what you were ready for, and even a day if you get super busy, and then you're rebuilding everything, but you're still doing orders in between that. So it's always like you're doing 5 to 10 things at any given moment the entire day. The upside of that is the day goes by quick.
I can only imagine.
Like you'll get lost and all of a sudden it's time to go.
Yeah.
But then you come in the next day and it's still that situation of, oh, we're digging out. We're always digging out of something. You're never really on top of it. You're always trying to get there, but you're never there.
Yeah.
That's your whole life doing that job.
Well, I'm glad you're out of it, to be honest with you. So what do you look forward to here?
There's a lot of things that I look forward to in the abstract of not necessarily doing this job, but having the time doing it. So like you said, it'll offer me more time to kind of sprawl out into some other things. I think the YouTube could use more attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think once like the Instagram stuff I have more time for that, right? I can do the shops Instagram, right? But then also I'm going to have more time left after that. And then it's like, well, I'd like to get piercing. I'd like to do the blackout thing, like learn to saturate. Lee and I were talking all about that. I'm going to sit in with the laser stuff with you, right? Like there's all kinds of shit to learn that will be interesting, right? Interesting uses of your time rather than laborious tasks after task after task. Because I'm still going to have that energy that I've always had. It's going to have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to just be able to... Because even if you just stand up there at the computer, there's only so much to do.
Yeah, man.
Like, you can't just stand at the computer all day. So I'm going to have to find other things, right?
Yep. No, completely. Because, like, I've done both. That's what landed me doing tattooing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it afforded me time and the surroundings to learn something in addition to what I was doing. You know what I mean? Because it's just like...
And eventually becomes a jumping off point for you.
Yeah. And which, again, that's one of the brilliant things that I've noticed about how Lee builds these businesses. Is like he doesn't have what I would consider to be like a famine mindset, where it's like, no, I need you doing this. It's always like, oh, if you're passionate about this, yeah, I'm going to push you in the direction you're passionate about, and it will be good, whatever it is. Like, he was pushing me to do this long ago, and never once being like, you can't because your job. You know what I mean? Not once did he tell me that. It's like, he was just like, if you want to do it, you should do it.
Yeah, he was trying to get you to double dip.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, legit.
He's crazy. He should be double dipping.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think that's where I had to say, like, it's just like, that's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be done in a way that it doesn't suffer the role itself. Like, you know, things are getting missed. Because that was one of the things that I noticed if I started getting, like, a little bit more tattoo time. It was like I felt like I was on the back foot, and I felt like I was having to get back to people, and I was missing things or whatever, and there would be more errors in the calendar because it's like that stuff does take consistent attention.
Yep.
So, and then the other side of it is like I just didn't want to be, you know, taking from anyone else.
Yeah, I can see that now. I didn't really understand that statement before, but then you get in here and it's like, oh yeah, the bookings aren't packed yet.
No.
Right? So you would be.
And there's a lot of just like general inquiry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of like a good majority of things. It's just one of those like, I need a tattoo. Here's this tattoo. Can you recommend someone? Because we're a reputable shop and they just want our recommendation. They're hopeful that we won't point them in a bad direction. So, you know, it's not really fair to be, and also to be like learning and doing that. To be like learning and going, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try it. The guy that's emailing you. It just seemed, I don't know, not as clean as what I would have wanted it to be.
Yeah, it seems a little self-serving.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking to the guy right now. Just $sign glasses on, licking your lips.
Yeah, no problem. I'll do all this for all y'all.
Meanwhile, you're spitting out second-rate work to someone
Yeah,
that could have got
exactly.
a good tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do all of your script, I guess.
Yeah. It's going to look great. Don't even worry about it.
But that's where
Those wobbly lines, they'll come out in the wash.
Yeah, exactly. No worries. It's your skin. But yeah, no, I have a moral compass that wouldn't allow me to do that, either of those things. So it's one of those like, you know, but I never felt a limitation there. And you will never feel a limitation there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because he's just always pushing people into the directions that they show passion, because he likes passion. So it's one of those like, and that mindset attracts more people in that same avenue, that same mindset, and you know, it just kind of begets growth. Whereas like if you go into it thinking that everything's going to go away, then it does.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That like intentionality and the mindset of, well, anything, you get whatever it is you're looking for. If you think you're going to get negativity, you're going to get negativity. If you think you're going to get growth, you're going to get growth, because that's the state of mind. That's the type of decisions that you make.
It's where I have to let my paranoia go a little bit, where it's like I'm naturally expecting the negative in the workspace, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I've been groomed to be on the defense, right? Be real hard. Nothing gets through.
You got to get rid of that. Because I mean, like, I don't know. I don't think there's any real need to defend here, personally. It's just one of those, like, we all want to enjoy what we do. We all want to be excited about what we do. We all want to do it at a high level.
Mm. I would
That's
say
like it.
doing lifelong cooking it's. I think you probably get a similar mindset to like a cage fighter, where you're always expecting something to go
Just
wrong.
waiting.
Yeah, you're just
Bobbing and weaving.
you have to be, because if you get too comfortable, you get fucked.
Yeah.
Like something goes wrong and you're just too relaxed, right?
Yeah.
But like there was always this strange zen that came with it too, though, where things would be going wrong and I was so used to it that there was no time wasted catching it.
Yeah.
Like it was, my reflexes were just so trained for shit going wrong. You don't even think about it. You're just fixing stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
Just always fixing. I would always give the same speech to people when things would go wrong and they get super upset. I'm like, no, don't react. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just keep moving. You don't have time to react. When you react, you're spending 20 seconds on something you don't have, right? You just got to keep going because things are going to go wrong. That's part of the program.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, you're just going to have to retool and keep going. And that was the hardest thing for young people coming into it, was always they would get hung up on things that would go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be fluid.
Well, it's like it all depends on the mindset of things going wrong. Like, doing something wrong is just an opportunity to learn to do it right. But when you grow up thinking that like doing something wrong means that you are bad,
Yeah.
that's a real problem, and it gets people people stuck, because you can never grow. Then you can never make a mistake and then learn from it. You always have to avoid making that mistake, which means that you are safe. You have to stay in a realm that you know, because making mistakes means you're bad.
Mm.
And it's like, well, no, making mistakes means you're learning, and you need to learn from those mistakes.
I just try and laugh at it like, why? What kind of a fucking, like the other day with the cash out with the pennies. That's
That was pretty hilarious.
It's going to be a hilarious memory, though.
Yeah, to
Like for
the
me.
penny.
Yeah, well, and because I've never done it, I'm trying so hard to be
I know.
to the line, right?
Yeah, that's where I was like, I was trying to explain to you. I was like, dude, you're worried about things that you shouldn't be worried about right now. But that's okay.
Yeah, I know, but now it's a funny story,
Oh, hell yeah.
right? That's
It's
the way
so
I look
funny.
at all those things. It's like, yeah, it sucks in the moment, but it'll be a funny story one day.
Yeah,
That's how I look at most of life now.
that is most of life now.
It'll be a funny story one day.
Hopefully it's a funny story, because now we have cataclysmic events that we have no idea if it's going to be a funny story. But who knows?
Mm.
Hopefully one day, I guess. Yeah. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, you're going to have a fun week.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a lot funner than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, it's always a good time.
I wasn't sure what to expect, and it was just a lot of hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of, but I mean, that's the thing. It's like creating an environment of people that you want to hang out with,
Yeah.
because like a lot of jobs in general, you have to spend a lot of time with people. So it's like, I think this is one of the things that is interesting about this place, of just like the contentious sound space, because it's like the only thing that we can't seem to agree on in terms of like how to hang
that's
out.
a weird one for me.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll tell you what, I'll end on this. I found it fascinating. There was a day that everybody got to work there at around 8.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was there until like 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody went out for drinks afterwards.
Yeah.
So they spent the entire day with each other.
The whole day.
And they had a blast at dinner and drinks.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is insane.
I mean, to be fair, that's what we did yesterday, other than the dinner part.
Yeah, but like that,
We were together
I've never
all
seen
day.
anything like that
Yeah.
ever. In the time I've worked at that place, we have never even had one Christmas party.
Oh my God.
There has never been any social get-togethers. They talk about one that happened like 25 years ago, but like
Jesus.
there's never been anything else.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's good. I mean, it's like it's a way of doing it, but is it the best way of doing it? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting when everybody's acting like they kind of get along, but
Yeah.
everybody knows that everybody hates each other. Like every single person has some problem with another person.
Yeah.
Like every one of them has had, because most of the people where I work have been there for so long that they've got into it with some, like each other person that's in there at some point.
Yeah.
It's a really weird thing.
It's resentment, man. It's just long form resentment, unfortunately. But either way, you're out of there.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
We're both moving on to fun times in our lives.
Better times to come.
Hell yeah.